How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs co-beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Today, I did want to take a day or two to kind of process some things for the Kansas City Chiefs as they are now eliminated. Felt like it would be pouring or rather putting salt on an open wound if talking about the best offensive performers from this game or from the loss against the Los Angeles Chargers, because there wasn't necessarily a whole lot of offensive action to get excited about, especially with how the game ended in Patrick Mahomes being ruled out for the rest of the season due to his ACL injury. So speedy recovery wishes towards Patrick, but still, I do want to talk about some things defensively, and I do think that it's been enough time to where we can dive into it. We do this typically on the site, but I'm going to do a podcast version of it now. So we're going to be talking about PFF's top 5 defensive players for the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 15 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, you do have to keep in mind that we don't do this based off of how many, or we do rather do this based off of how many snaps people had played for. So we're going to do at least 30 snaps, and we're going to do top 5. So without further ado, this is the top 5 PFF players defensively for the Kansas City Chiefs in their loss to the Chargers. Number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just double checking. Number 1, Bryan Cook finished the game with 66 total snaps played, and 31 of them were run defense. His overall defensive grade was a 70.1. His run defense grade was a 69.5. His tackling grade was a 60.3, and his coverage grade was a 65.4. So there's definitely some things to be adjusted going forward for Bryan Cook. But, for him, just because the Chiefs are out of the playoffs doesn't mean that this season doesn't mean anything to him. He does become a free agent at season's end. So it is important for him to really take care of business these next 3 games and really remain healthy. It's very important for the course of action for him if he does want to get paid this offseason. But all in all, I did think that Bryan Cook, just rating aside, he did play up to his up to standard typically as he does, and he's been fairly well this season. Obviously the tackling needs in this instance needed to improve, but all in all, I don't think it was necessarily a performance that you kind of have to point your finger at and saying that you're to blame. I think that it was just a cumulative defeat. But moving on ahead of him slightly, playing in 42 snaps, Chris Jones earning an overall defensive grade of a 72.4, 71.4 in run defensive grade, and an 83.5 pass rush grade. Chris Jones, he is a guy that is really make or break the defensive approach for Kansas City. And I don't think that the defense played all that poorly. They only allowed 16 points. And, in any other game, 16 points should be enough to defeat the opposing team offensively. So it makes it's a little fluke in the action, but, Chris Jones, he did his act. He did as much as he could to get things moving in the right direction. But all in all, total tackles for Chris, he had he didn't have one, but when he did have a lot of quarterback hits as well. And 2 total pressures. So, once you're getting that quarterback through that offensive line that is struggling for the Chargers, it's impressive for him that even make the list. So, number 3, the third best defender from that game was Charles Omenihu. In 33 defensive total snaps played, he earned a grade of a 73.7 with a run defense grade of a 59.2, a tackling grade of a 71.8, and a pass rush grade of a 76.5. He had 3 total pressures. He had 2 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, the guy was all over the place. He also had 3 stops as well. So I do think, at least when you're looking at depth for the defensive end position, he could definitely be in the conversation to bring back. But seeing how poorly this Kansas City Chiefs team has played and performed in terms of what was expected of them, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys' future in Kansas City, or rather their tenure in Kansas City, has come to an end with their future kind of being elsewhere. But I think Omenihu, he played well. And I don't think that he should take anything for granted for how he played. The second best defender, according to Pro Football Focus, in 64, arguably could be number one, but when we're looking at total snaps, that's the only reason as to why there's a player ahead of him in that department. Jaylen Watson finished with an overall defensive grade of a 78.2 in 64 snaps played, 72.9 run defensive grade, a 78.9 tackling grade, a 72.4 pass rush grade, and a 74.4 coverage grade. So really all you could ask for, Jaylen Watson gave it to you. All in the 70s, meaning that you are above average, and he did as much as he could to help the Chiefs become victorious. He did have 2 total tackles. He had 1 quarterback sack, 1 hurry. He had 2 pressures, 3 total tackles, and 3 stops as well. So pretty impressed with how Jaylen Watson has played, and I'm expecting him to get paid. I don't know if it's going to be by Kansas City, but whoever does pay him, they were going to give him some money. He's been outstanding this year. And then number 1, if there is a bright spot to look at for the defensive side of things, rookie Ashton Gillotte, he does haul in the number 1 defensive performance in 33 total snaps played. He earned just slightly better, a 78.3 compared to Jaylen Watson's 78.2. He had a run defensive grade of a 74, a tackling grade of 72.3, a pass rush grade of a 61.1, and a coverage grade of a 63.3. He did have 1 total pressure. He had a quarterback sack. He had a tackle, an assisted tackle, a stop, and he also did haul in an interception, his first of his career. And man, oh man, was he excited. It made me excited. Have gone on record to say, or at least if I haven't before, this is me doing so. Ashton Gillotte, man, I am enjoying how he is, and I do think that he's got a bright future in the National Football League. And I think that, this season has kind of proven that, and I'm proud of how he's adjusted himself so far this season. So with that being said, those are the top 5 defensive performers for Kansas City from Week 15 in their loss. But there's 3 games left. They have 2 chances. I have said multiple times that you've got 2 very winnable games. You've got a tough opponent on Christmas in the Denver Broncos. But all in all, folks, be sure you follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. Post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs while we go into another week, hopefully for the Chiefs getting into the win column. You can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI, both on X and Facebook. Everything gets posted there. You're not going to want to miss it. As always, folks, be kind to one another. I'll see you tomorrow.